brain of an 8-year-old boy with a huge tumor most thought would kill him. He used Dr. Burzynski's drug. Images of his skull taken 6 years later show the tumor has almost disappeared.
Dr. Bruce Cohen is the director of neurologic oncology at the prestigious Cleveland Clinic.
The only explanation is that it shrunk because of the therapy Paul has received.
Attended Lublin Medical University, where he graduated first in his class at age 24, and then received his Ph.D. in biochemistry the following year. While undergoing his research to acquire his Ph.D., Dr. Burzynski made a profound discovery. He found a strain of peptides in human blood and urine that had never before been recorded in biomedical research. As his curiosity in these peptides evolved, he made another profound observation. People who were inflicted with cancer seemed to lack these newly discovered peptides in both their blood and urine, while those who were healthy and free of cancer appeared to have an abundance of these peptides. Dr. Burzynski theorized that if he could somehow provide a way to chemically extract these peptides from the blood and urine of healthy donors and administer these peptides to those with cancer, perhaps it could be useful in treating the disease.
Before I started, I asked the lawyers for the advice. Can I use experimental treatment, which was the treatment of angioplastons? Can I use this in my private practice, and can I be involved in cancer research? Simple as the private company.
Dr. Burzynski's attorneys verified that as long as he kept his activities within the state of Texas, he wasn't breaking any federal laws. However, Dr. Burzynski could not introduce anti-neoplastons into interstate commerce, which means he had to keep his activities only within the state of Texas to avoid breaking any federal laws. However, once word got out that Dr. Burzynski was curing terminal cancer in Texas, people began traveling from all over the country to receive anti-neoplastons.
We're talking with Dr. Stanislaw Burzynski, who is an MD and a PhD, has done some experimental work in the area of cancer. How is your research funded?
Initially, my research was funded from National Cancer Institute and from Baylor College of Medicine. After I decided to open my laboratory, the only funds available for me were loans from the banks, patients' fees, and payments from the insurance companies.
Could you stand for just a minute, Dr. Gardner? This is Dr. Harold Gardner. Now, is there anything about this that you find controversial? I mean, his treatment, does it have a good scientific background hypothesis and really controlled studies behind it?
Yes, as the science of investigation goes, Dr. Burzynski's studies have been quite professional, certainly as creditable as most at Wayne State and the University of Michigan and others, which I'm tied to directly. The controversy is less in his approach on a therapy basis than it is his approach organizationally. And much of the medical and hospital industry operates as a very closed shop. And if you have ideas that might in one way or another jeopardize that economic base, you fall into disfavor very quickly.
That is an incredible statement that you've just made.
And I've been involved with several patients who have chosen options in Europe and in Canada. And those options are not available in this country because of economic and organizational reasons, not because of scientific reasons.
When Mary Michaels took the stand on behalf of her son Paul, she trained her eyes on the state's attorney.
I mean, I have enough to worry about when I go to bed at night about my son and my family. I don't need to worry that this treatment's going to be taken away.
What do you think might happen if... No, never mind. Never mind. I have no other questions.
For all I know, the kid may still be alive.
The tumors will grow, they will lose the vision, they will be paralyzed, and they will die, because there's nothing in the world which can be used to save these patients' life.
You intend to continue doing just what you've been doing until somebody is able to stop you. Is that not true?
I'm going to do what the law will allow me to do, Mr. Helcom. I do whatever is necessary to bring my medicines to approval in the United States and everywhere in the world, and bring you to justice for causing the deaths of 200 patients. And we will come back here to haunt you until we are dead.
Are you threatening me, Dr. Burzynski?
I'm not threatening you, but that's what's going to happen in the future.
Well, I think that's something that remains to be seen.
They weren't real happy with me. I could tell that from the way they were talking to me and asking questions. Then they told me after they were going to rewrite my proposal for decision and take adverse action against Dr. Burzynski, and I said I thought that was rather foolish.
The state of Texas wants Houston doctor Stanislaw Burzynski to stop treating his patients with drugs he produces at his own pharmaceutical plant. The drugs called anti-neoplastons are non-toxic compounds of proteins and amino acids, often lacking in cancer patients. Even though the state of Texas acknowledges that the drugs may be helping some who are terminally ill, the state says the drugs shouldn't be used. This is the State Board of Medical Examiners, which licenses doctors in Texas. This is the agency challenging Dr. Burzynski in court. One judge has already told the board members that they don't have a case.
All of this nonsense which is going now should disappear, because they should realize that I am right, okay? They're fighting losing battle. I am saving human lives, and if they put me out of business, the people will die.
This is the brain of an 8-year-old boy with a huge tumor most thought would kill him. He used Dr. Burzynski's drug. Images of his skull taken 6 years later show the tumor has almost disappeared.
Dr. Bruce Cohen is the director of neurologic oncology at the prestigious Cleveland Clinic.
The only explanation is that it shrunk because of the therapy Paul has received.
He confirmed Dr. Burzynski's results on Paul.
7 years that we've had Paul, and he's been healthy, and I owe it to this man. And there's no way that I'd ever be able to thank him enough for what he's done for us.
Today, that boy, Paul Michaels, and his anxious family sit in the courtroom with other patients.
Undeterred by the 1993 ruling, the Texas Medical Board took Dr. Burzynski to a higher district court.
The Texas State Board of Medical Examiners, which has fought to suspend Dr. Burzynski's license because his treatments have never been approved, says, quote, the efficacy of anti-neoplastons in the treatment of human cancers is not of issue in these proceedings.
It takes a bureaucrat to come up with that idea, because a layman, that would really be the question.
The state of Texas wants Houston doctor Stanislaw Burzynski to stop treating his patients with drugs he produces at his own pharmaceutical plant. The drugs called anti-neoplastons are non-toxic compounds of proteins and amino acids.
Nicholas Petronas.
Some of the most dramatic testimony on Dr. Burzynski's behalf came from Dr. Nicholas Petronas,
Doctor, I want you to see up here.
a Georgetown University expert who was a member of the National Cancer Institute's team that analyzed 7 of Dr. Burzynski's cases.
The basic conclusion was that in 5 of the patients with brain tumors that were fairly large, the tumor resolved, disappeared. It's amazing, the fact that they are leaving. It's impressive and unbelievable.
He was quite a witness. He said he had never seen anything like what Dr. Burzynski was able to accomplish with his anti-neoplastons in brain cancer. He had one young boy there who had been treated. He was about 12 at the hearing, strapping lad, good-sized boy. But when he was first started on treatment when he was about 4 years old, I think his name was Paul, he was given up on by his original doctor.
He confirmed Dr. Burzynski's results on Paul.
7 years that we've had Paul, and he's been healthy, and I owe it to this man. And there's no way that I'd ever be able to thank him enough for what he's done for us.
Today, that boy, Paul Michaels, and his anxious family sit in the courtroom with other patients.
Undeterred by the 1993 ruling, the Texas Medical Board took Dr. Burzynski to a higher district court.
The Texas State Board of Medical Examiners, which has fought to suspend Dr. Burzynski's license because his treatments have never been approved, says, quote, the efficacy of anti-neoplastons in the treatment of human cancers is not of issue in these proceedings.